Hi everybody, I'm VanDusen, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to price your graphic design work. So this video is actually a request video from one of my viewers, Jeffrey Noah Chukwu. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing your name, but he asked me, Phil, can you make a video on how you price your services as a designer? And so what I did was I developed an acronym, SWIMTEST, W-S-I-M-T-E-S-T. Each of those letters stand for something. It stands for the 8 things that really affect how you price your work. Okay, let's get going. So S, the size of the client. Does your client make $50,000 a year with their business? Do they make $500 million a year with your business? The size of the client is important in how you price your work. W is for what? What is the work? What are you delivering? Are you delivering a logo, a website? Are you delivering strategy or content? What is the thing that you're delivering to the client? I is impact. So what is the impact that what you're delivering is going to have on their business? What's the return on the investment for them? The return on the investment for a logo for Exxon might be completely different than a logo for Main Street Bakery. So think about what is the impact that your work is going to have for the client. M is for market rate. So what's the going market rate for the service or the deliverable that you're providing your client? What do indie designers charge? What do agencies charge? The AIGA has a great price guide for pricing your work, and that's a great way to kind of get a bearing on what the market rate is for the thing that you're going to be developing. T is for time. So how long is it going to take to create this piece of work? Is it going to take you 2 hours? Is it going to take you 2 weeks, 6 months? Think about the time it takes, because time equals money. E is for experience level. So are you a beginner? Do you have a killer portfolio of major client work? The credentials that you have is the proof of your ability. And with more ability and more history and more credentials, you can charge more for your work. S is for skills. So what additional skills are you bringing to the client? Apart from just creating design work, are you bringing strategy skills? Are you bringing naming skills? Are you bringing concepting skills? Are you bringing business advice? Are you bringing content strategy? What are the added skills that you're bringing to bear for this client? And T stands for tude, attitude. What's the attitude of your client? Is your client going to be hard to work for? They're going to be easy to work for. Can mean the difference between a pleasurable experience for you and a painful experience for you. And painful experiences are always more expensive. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use SWIMTEST across 3 different projects and show you how those criteria can affect the price of a project. So let's start with a logo project. And we're going to use that logo project across a large company, a medium-sized company, and a small company or entrepreneur. Example number 1 is doing a logo for a large company. So visual identity system, you're going to develop a logo, fonts, colors, patterns, icons, photo direction. The large company, how I define that is, let's just say it's in the neighborhood of $300 million a year in revenue. The job's going to be complex because their usage is going to be across packaging and retail and print and digital. And the time it's going to take to do this through a large company could be as long as 3 to 6 months. There are a lot of different stakeholders, so a lot of different clients, a lot of people who are going to touch it and have their opinions on the work. So you've got to expect a lot of revisions in this process. The impact on the business, though, could be huge. It's going to have huge exposure, and the change in perception of the brand and therefore affecting their revenue could be big. The guidelines for the logo project, so a style guide, might be very complex and may take a long time to develop. So let's talk about market rate. A big agency might charge anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000 for a brand identity project like this for a company of this size. A small to mid-size agency might charge $30,000 to $50,000. And a super junior designer, if by some chance they got a project like this, might charge a lot less, maybe like $10,000 for this project. Now, example number 2, we're developing a brand identity for a mid-sized company. So again, a visual identity system, logo, fonts, colors, photo style, patterns, icons, etc. For a small company that might have $10 million a year in revenue. Now the job is a lot simpler because the usage is only going to be in print and digital. There's going to be no physical, there's going to be no trucks, there's going to be no retail. The time it's going to take to do this is like around a month because of the fewer number of stakeholders that are going to be involved in the process and a fewer number of revisions. The return on investment on a project like this isn't necessarily measurable because there's going to be a lot less exposure and a lot less of a bump in revenue when the new identity comes out. The guidelines document, or the style guide, is going to be fairly simple for the company. So a small agency or consultancy that got a brand identity project like this might charge anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 for it. A junior designer who doesn't have the credentials might jump at the chance to do this logo and do it for $200, $200 to $2,000, because they really want the work and they really want the exposure. Example number 3 is doing this brand identity system for an individual or an entrepreneur. So again, you're developing a visual identity system. This individual makes less than $1 million a year in revenue in their business. So the job is simple. Again, the usage is going to be tight, so print and digital. The time to develop it, the whole process, because you're dealing with just one person, might be as little as 2 weeks. There's a single stakeholder, so a single client that you're being working with. So that simplicity of the interactions, communications, and review of the work is going to be easier. The guidelines that you're going to have to develop for usage of the visual identity system are simple. It could be a 1 or 2 page document. So the market rate for this could be anywhere from $200 to $5,000. With my experience and my credentials, my portfolio and track record, I might charge something like $5,000 to $10,000 for a brand identity project like this. But a junior designer might be happy to get the job for $200 just to get exposure, get the work out there, get a real client that's going to start building their credentials. So use the swim test acronym when pricing your work. It'll give you some ideas about how to judge aspects of the project so your pricing is more accurate. So size of client, what the work is, the impact of the work, the market rate, the time it's going to take, the experience level, what skills you're bringing to the table, and the attitude of the client. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to price your services as a graphic designer. Use that swim test acronym. Hit subscribe below so you can see my videos when they come out, and subscribe to my newsletter at philipvandusen.com/muse. It comes out every 2 weeks, and I share an insight and resources and trends on graphic design and entrepreneurship. And with that, thanks again for watching. Bye for now.